Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the November 21st Rolling Hills Traffic Commission meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and could I have a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Margetta is absent. Commissioner Virtue?
Here.
Commissioner Rain is absent. Vice Chair Bobbitt?
Here.
And Chair Wilson.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is to approve the order of the agenda. Does anybody, morning Karina, anyone have an objection to the order?
No.
Do we need to vote on that?
Nope.
Are you going to join us?
I was waiting for to see if the sheriffs were here, but
They're not.
We just asked about
We'll
that.
stall.
Okay, then we'll move on to blue folder items. I don't think there was any.
There are none.
Okay, on to public comments on non-agenda items. Please, you have one? Oh, no. Oh, okay. I recognize Artie Beckler's presence. Consent calendar. There was something in here that prompted me to, let's see. Well, maybe not. All right, so we're at the consent calendar. Would someone like to make a motion or pull an item?
I move that we accept.
Okay,
Okay, I'll second.
all right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, moving on to, there are no excluded consent items, so we'll move on to number 9, presentation, which is the Sheriff's Department. Seeing that they're not present, we will move on and come back to if we have the, well, we'll come back to that. I know that there's a report in the agenda.
There is a report, and last month they showed up probably about 15 minutes late, so.
Well, let's come back to it. We can come back to this even if they don't arrive.
Okay.
Because there is some information to consider, and I have some questions, actually.
Great.
Okay, on to number 10, Wes, lightning speed, old business. Reconsider signage at Crest Road East and Eastfield Drive leading to Crest Road East Gate and finding the action categorically exempt from CEQA.
I thought we talked about that at the previous meeting
That's what I thought too.
and
We-
voted unanimously to read the signs.
You did. You discussed this briefly at the last meeting. I don't believe, if I recall, that it was agendized, or did we agendize it?
It was not.
It was not agendized. I think
We had a
Char
council, we had a public,
Yeah,
right?
and,
Public, bring it
and
up
so,
again.
So what you have here is a report from Vanessa, just kind of outlining, again, reiterating the things that we have discussed over the past year and 2 months, and then basically formulating her recommendations for what we should do to be in compliance with the MUTC. And so really at this point, for you is to evaluate what she's recommended and then make that recommendation to the city manager and/or if you believe the council and the association needs to weigh in to them. But the city manager, as we've discussed previously under municipal code, has the authority to put in new signs based on recommendations.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Discussion?
If I can just elaborate a little bit on,
About with the signs.
on my memorandum, what I did is reiterated, like it was stated, what I had recommended prior, that the existing signs out there were correct based on the dead end component and the everyday usage of the road, right? And the only thing I would recommended was replacing them because they're old and faded, and raising them, right, because it's better for line of sight and to just respond to what you need to do when you approach the terminus of that street. The only new recommendation, based on the various discussions we've had about the gate and the emergency component, there was a sign there before that just said emergency vehicles, and I gave 2 options of replacing that with a sign that says emergency and authorized vehicles only, or emergency vehicle route, vehicle route with an arrow instead of emergency vehicles. that is something to be considered today. Which one do you prefer? I wanted to give you a couple of options. Just because of the uniqueness of that situation, I didn't feel that the emergency vehicle sign serves any purpose. But, these two that I'm suggesting may work more. I will be honest, as a traffic engineer, I do find it interesting that people choose to go into this very narrow area into the gate. It is very obvious that it's a dead end. It's very obvious that it's closed. But that's my recommendation, just to make it a little more noticeable.
I've never seen a car or vehicle actually drive down that one-way, it's not one-way, actually, it's, but narrow lane.
Happens all the time. Really? Yeah.
They drive up to it and then back out.
It's the Google Maps. It's all, it's still on there. So the people, even though the signs are there, they still go. And then they get to the gate, they gotta reverse back out, and a lot of times when we see it, we try and stop and be like, hey, you can't go this way, you need to turn around or go down Eastfield. A lot of the time it's your, Uber,
Yeah.
Amazon, it's a lot of those guys
Yeah.
that do it.
Well, your cameras probably pick that up too, right?
Yes, if they make it to, if they get to the white fence and they start going past the white, yes, our LPRs kick in and the security cameras.
I had just the opposite experience of what you're talking about. It wasn't from within Rolling Hills, it was outside of Rolling Hills. The Uber driver, not the Uber, the Amazon driver, I guess got frustrated and threw a package out on the outside of the fence. And your staff picks it up and brought it to the gate for me and called me and said, hey, you got an Amazon package at the gate.
What a delivery.
Wow.
Okay, well.
Well, and, with that said, I believe there is ways for us, maybe in collaboration with the RHCA, to communicate with some of the mapping systems
gonna say.
about the fact, because, when roads change and stuff, usually public works departments will communicate that information to those entities, and maybe we need to
You
do
are
that
correct.
to stop people thinking that that is an actual potential thoroughfare.
So I was told a few years ago that Google Maps, I guess, or maybe whatever GPS platform it is, there is a process or a method to reach out to them and tell them when there's been a change in configuration or whatever, so they can update. And the reason that was interesting to me is because I completely gave up on Uber, because whenever I would request an Uber, they would click off right away, yes, your Uber will be there in 5 minutes. Well, the Uber was always accepting the ride from Terranea. They would think that you could go to the old, not Burr Road, but whatever it shows in the Google Maps that intersects. It's a trail, it's a walking trail. Now it's even close to walking because of the land movement. But, and I could just watch the Uber driver go from Terranea to that spot, and then they get frustrated. And then they go to the PV Drive East and do the switchbacks, and then they go to Crest, and they go to the Crest gate and get locked out, and then they give up on me. So 20 minutes later, I'm trying to find a new Uber. But I bring up that long story because I was told that there is a way that you can reach out to them to do that. So
That's my understanding. Maybe Vanessa has more.
Correct. I have heard, I personally have not done it, but for Google and even Uber, there are ways, because obviously they want these to be correct for everyone. So there is a way. I haven't personally done it. I think I have one of my team members who might have reached out. I can find out and give you some information if we have it, but.
yeah, well, what a frustrating process that must be, because you don't pick up the phone and say, hey, Mr. Uber, can you fix the road?
I think it would be in our best interest, if to, Artie's point there, it happens quite often, I think we would want to resolve that situation, as quickly as possible.
It's kind of fun to watch a car back up 500 feet.
I've seen some fun stuff. I've seen people exchange throwing food over because they couldn't get through.
Well, you really don't want to be in that situation if you have a tractor trailer. I mean, if you're any good, you could back up on that narrow road there, but boy, if you jackknife it, you're,
I've never seen a big vehicle do it. It's always just been Uber, Amazon, UPS, FedEx.
Vanessa?
Yes.
Do you have a preference for the emergency exit only or evacuation route with an arrow? Do you have a preference for which you think would?
I like the
Arrow, personally, I like the, emergency vehicle route. I didn't want to just say evacuation because I think this is multiple usage, right? But,
I think we got to be careful about evacuation. I mean,
right,
Tell me this too. If so many people are missing it. I know we talked about a blinking light or something, and if they're not seeing our sign with an arrow that says, you know, dead end and all that, do we really need to put something with a flashing light that would catch their attention? I don't think that's something we like to do,
No, I would
but I don't know
suggest
how
raising,
far we have to go.
yeah, I'm not a big fan on the
But I
light
think
idea.
the one with the
But I think
arrow-
raising the signs and having newer signs that are more reflective will make them more visible and people will see them better.
Actually, I think the signs that we have up there are reflective, because I replaced those years
Yeah.
ago. And I think the 500-foot one is yellow, black reflective. I don't know about the rest of the signs that are there, though.
They're all reflective, but with wear and tear,
Right.
it goes away. So they have to be replaced.
Age,
6
yeah.
years ago?
Yeah, that's about right in the life of the sign.
Okay,
Well, that, if we did the arrow, that would replace the yellow sign that we have that says emergency, the triangle. or
Correct,
diamond.
it's the diamond that says, it would replace this one,
Uh-huh,
this one, the emergency vehicle only diamond instead.
okay.
with what? Which one?
This
Replace
one?
it with what?
With, emergency vehicle route and an arrow.
I don't see that. sign.
Oh, this is in here, this one. I would recommend this one.
Oh.
The last page, there we go. That was my only change in recommendation, as when I first brought the recommendations up, I did not understand the duality aspect of that road, the usage duality. So I only evaluated it for typical traditional usage of being a dead end, right? And I left the emergency vehicle thing because I know there's a lot of things in the city that happen that I'm not actually aware of because of the fires and emergency.
Okay, this emergency vehicle route sign with the arrow, that's yellow?
It is, it's yellow. It'll be the same as this one, except it just has different, wording.
And would the arrow be pointing up as opposed to?
It would be
left or
pointing
right?
up, yeah, like straight, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that would not be good.
Fence and,
There's a sign that's attached above the existing emergency vehicles only sign. It's a warning. It doesn't seem like that's the right place to hang that sign, but
yeah, that's the warning
Right.
for the cameras.
when I see signs posted over traffic, official traffic signs, I always think, I think there's something out here in the front gate too that's like that. I can't remember what it is. All right, so,
I will clarify, I'm not adding signs, I'm just asking for replacement and one changing it a little bit.
Okay.
But it's just replacement of the signs that are out there.
replacing one sign
And the,
with a different.
replacing, right, with a different wording, but the rest are being replaced in kind and higher.
and the
Yes,
posts.
and being raised up, correct.
Okay. I saw something earlier about, I'm not sure if it's this item or not, about the wood posts. What item, that might have been a consent item that I was trying to think of.
The Ranchero one,
Is
maybe?
that the Portuguese Bend one, or?
Well, there was a comment about, the county doesn't stock wood posts or something like
Oh,
that.
when we did the one on Portuguese Bend, when we
Right.
were putting up the new sign down there.
Right, but
I
that
think
was
it
put
came
on a
up
wood
then.
post, I believe.
Yeah,
We,
we had to order it special or something they did.
yeah, we had one other situation where they were attaching a sign on Crest Road West, just inside of the gate, and they were replacing it on a wood post. That's not typically the materials they would use. They did do it, and,
Is that the
sorry, LA County Public Works. So they fabricate the signs, they'll come out and do the installation, we pay for that. And they will attach it to something that is there. So I guess if we want to maintain a wood post scenario, we can, and they don't supply that, we can talk with Artie and his team about setting posts, and then they would have to come and, install the sign on a post. Otherwise, we would be,
Or use the existing post if it's suitable.
well, the existing posts are too short.
Maybe too short. That's part of our problem,
Yeah,
right?
so for us to hit the 7-foot limit, we're gonna have to put new hardware in the ground.
All right, and I want to come back to the wood posts, not on this item, but on probably matters from the commission. Okay, so right now, we're considering replacing the emergency vehicles only sign with a emergency vehicle route with an arrow sign. And replacing the other signs because of loss of reflectivity and height. Being not enough
Correct.
height. Okay, that's kind of where we're at right now. Any comments on what I just said? Any objections, any support?
You said it well.
Okay, all right. Well, then, would somebody like to make a motion?
Do you want to just go to public comment in case anybody wants to? Any public comment? Okay,
You're gonna be the
seeing,
go-to guy every time there's public comment, so check it twice. Okay, I'll make the motion since I so eloquently said it before. So I move that we recommend to the city manager, is that,
yeah, you can.
to the city manager that we replace the sign that says emergency vehicles only with a new sign that says emergency vehicle route with an arrow pointing up. And further, that we replace the existing signs on taller posts and with new signs that are, have greater reflectivity. And I'll leave it at that.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Back to the agenda.
You want to, do you want to go on the like matters from the commission and just to see if the sheriff?
Sure.
Okay,
Well, new business, I believe,
we don't have any new business.
okay. Matters from members of the traffic commission. Anybody besides me? Okay. So back to the comment about the steel pole. I've had comments, if you will, from residents about a stop sign. A few years ago, we voted to not replace, but install a stop sign. I think the intersection is Williamsburg and I don't know the cross street right there.
That Middle Ridge?
Yeah. Right. So the complaint I'm getting is that, and I haven't noticed it myself, but I've been told that that stop sign is mounted on a steel pole.
Okay.
So that is, this whole thing reminded me of this. You know, the comment was, aren't we deserving in this neighborhood for a wood pole like everywhere else in Rolling Hills? So I don't know if that requires commission action. I don't know what the association can do about that, if anything, or if that's a city
We
obligation.
got blamed for putting them in, and people were pretty upset about it, and I told them it wasn't us that put them in, because, yeah, naturally, all our stuff is wood posts.
Well, I think, I'm not getting complaints about the stop sign. Initially there was.
It's the metal pole that they're upset about, yes.
We are getting speeding complaints about running the stop sign, but
Really?
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, we've asked for spot enforcement at that intersection.
Oh, okay.
It's a four-way stop right there, so nobody stops there.
Well, maybe if we rewarded the community with a wood pole, they'd be more respectful of it.
Okay, so I guess we can, offline, we'll talk with Artie and his team and just ensure that if we can replace the pole, we will do so.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
The other thing that I have is my favorite utility, the gas company. Even after they cut off service to certain areas of Rolling Hills, they come out and dig up the ground and block traffic on a regular basis for an area that has no service. It's fascinating to me that they do this, but they do. But in the meantime, what they've done is there's a short chain link fence on Portuguese Bend Road, right at the area where they cut off the service. They regularly dig that up, but they regularly do not restore the fence. They just leave it laying on the side. And very beyond annoying, honestly. I would like to, and I don't know who should reach out to the gas company about this. I believe it's your fence.
Actually, I believe the homeowner had that fence put in because through a rain, the hillside sloughed off, so they used that as a retainer.
Really?
Yeah.
I never do
You're
that.
talking about the
There's
little
two
short
sections
one.
of it, yeah, right.
Yeah, that was not us that installed it, so we chalked it up to the resident, put it in for retaining.
Well, that went in many, many years ago, I remember that.
Yeah.
I just assumed it was for rock, you know, to catch rock.
Because that one year we had a big rain back in, I think, 2016 or 17. We had the big rocks that came down off their hillside and ended up in the road. So somebody had reached out to them from our office and they ended up putting that fence in.
Well, that's beyond interesting.
Just past Ranchero as you're going south.
Well, there's actually two segments of it. There's one that's on sort of a sharper turn and then one on a more rounded turn, I guess. But what's happened over time is the longer stretch, which is, you know, also short, 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet high, it's looking dilapidated right now. You know, so it's on the side, right at the edge of the road, and it's laying over and twisted. It's just, you know.
I think it was one of those things that somebody came in and did on a Saturday or a Sunday.
Well, how do we, as a community, I mean, I don't object to the fence itself. It probably serves a decent purpose. I don't remember rocks coming down the hill, but, you know, that was a long time ago. But how do we, as a community, with either the association and or the city, get that dilapidated looking fence?
It's maintenance, somebody has to maintain.
Yeah, I know, but do we have to go to the homeowner about this? I mean, is that what you're saying?
That's
The
what I would think.
association did not put it in, so that's what I would think.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the easement though. That's, you know, that's the connection.
Yeah, somebody probably needs to go to the homeowner.
And
We can
what we don't know, is it the original homeowner that put it in? The people that live there may not even know that they did it, if it's the second
That-
owner or something.
That might be the Brown.
We need to find out.
I don't know. I'd have to look at a map. That might be the Brown family, whose actual address is on Crest, but they're
The bottom of the
wraps
property.
around. Yeah. Okay.
I've talked to Catherine at the association, or Kristen about dilapidated fences, wooden fences, and I usually get the response, well, we'll send a note to the homeowner. Now, often nothing happens, but they will advise or notify the homeowner that, you know, not looking too good, it's, you know, we'd like you to fix that up. So maybe they could send something like that, I don't, you know, do
Okay, can I reach out to Catherine and ask her to,
yeah,
I mean, I could do it if I want, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to go through channels here. Okay.
I'm not sure if you even need to go through a channel, but just talk to her.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
wanna go around you guys.
Make it a big, you know,
Yeah, I don't.
try that first, and we can always come back and talk about it.
Yeah, because Vietta's
Future
right.
meeting.
Whoever owns the house now maybe wasn't the one that put it in and had no idea that it was their fence and probably doesn't even notice it because I don't believe that fence faces the property owner faces Portuguese Bend, so they would never go up and
Yeah,
down.
they probably aren't ever traveling
Might
back
not
there.
even notice it.
I just wanted to ask a clarifying question, because you started off that story about, with Southern California Gas. Did Southern California Gas tear down the fence?
A portion of it, yeah.
And so is this a result of Southern California Gas being negligent?
Two separate items.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, like, should we be talking to them about restoring it back to the way it was?
Well, I'd love for them to do the whole thing, but I can't make that connection. You know,
Okay.
Where the fence is dilapidated is not where they're doing the
Got it,
construction.
okay, I just wanted to make sure, so.
All right. Moving right along. Matters with staff?
None that I am aware of, just happy Thanksgiving from staff to the commission.
All right, well, let's go back to the number 9 presentation, which doesn't look like we're gonna have a,
They're out chasing bad guys.
yeah. Is that 9A?
Must be titled.
Yes.
So I had a question, and Christian, maybe you can answer, but maybe not.
I'll do my best.
This is, this report, is this from the sheriff's department? This,
Yes, that, I believe so. I didn't put together the staff report, but that looks like what they typically send us.
okay, so as you look at, just look at the first line, number of citations, 25. Okay, fine, I get that. Total number of violations, 26. I don't understand how you can have more, well, unless there was 2 violations on one ticket, I suppose that happens. But were these 26 violations part of the 25 citations? And then if you go on further, total number of hazardous citations, 11. These are not, I don't think these are cumulative numbers, are they? These are embedded.
No, I think they should all correlate to the greater number, so.
Because I don't know what you add up to come to the, it seems like the most important is the total number of citations. And I also didn't understand, and maybe this is a thing, but it says, down to the DUI, it says total number of DUI arrests, 0, total number of DUI citations, 1. I don't think I've heard of a DUI citation that didn't result in an arrest, but I
Well,
guess it's
if you
possible.
look at the staff report, it says, well, it does say DUI arrests, oh no, year-to-date 0, but then it says total number of citations. So I'm not, you're right, I'm not sure. We would have to ask the sheriff's department, and that might be also a good question at the PPSC level, or the regional contract law level, is what,
Unfortunately, I missed that last week.
yeah, what denotes a citation versus an arrest. So I'm not sure, but.
Because I just assumed, if not thought, that when you get arrested for DUI, you don't get a ticket.
Yeah.
I guess trade seats with the other person in the car and they let you go, but
Maybe
It was-
with marijuana, you just get a ticket for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
that's
will,
possible.
but post-meeting, I will send an email to Captain Guerrero and ask about that specifically. And then I can share it with the body.
Okay, thank you. And then the report with the speed, that's all we got. And that's, that's what we asked for, so that's good. All the same
A
location.
couple pretty fast ones.
Yeah, 58.
51, 58, pretty
Yeah.
fast. There's only 23 on that.
Not even-
Crest of Johns Canyon. Yeah, 58, 51, 49, and let's see, the 58 was, for whatever it's worth, a non-resident, so that's, I'm sorry, wait, did I get that right? Yeah, non-resident. As usual, it looks like it's about 50-50 with residents and non-residents. I remember, I forget the officer's name, but he made a comment, they only write, he only wrote citations when they exceeded 15 miles over the speed limit. That's pretty generous, I thought, not getting a ticket till you hit 45. Because when you're a pedestrian and somebody's blowing by at 45, you notice it. It's quite something.
Anecdotally, I never even need to use gas on Crest, and I will easily hit 35 going towards the west gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Finding some good spots to hide. Like, they're in plain sight, but you can't see until you're right on them.
well, I'm trying to, everyone was at the same location, Crest Road, at. it
Johns
says-
Canyon.
It says St. John's Canyon.
They got a tree that they just back up to, and you really can't see them until you're right on the back of their truck.
Very true. I thought we had asked them to maybe go down to Upper Blackwater and Portuguese Bend, maybe spend a little
We-
time over there.
We have, and they have in the past.
They have.
Now granted, I think Deputy Duran is their motor officer. So I believe, because remember, well, sorry, you weren't at the, yeah, so the motor officer has been back since roughly September. So Captain Guerrero has reported out at the regional law meeting that we should see an uptick in, our supplemental enforcement. But we have requested for them to do spot enforcement here. The city manager just requested, like I said, to do it at the Williamsburg and Lower Blackwater Canyon. So anytime we get a call or, a series of requests from residents, we'll ask them to post somebody and, if they can, do it at a specific place. Eastfield Crest, typically another one we've had requests for. That's more stop sign running, but.
Yeah, I've been sitting at Poppy Trail and Wagon Lane as well.
Yeah.
Poppy Trail and Wagon?
So Wagon Lane, they'll back up next to Tina Greenberg's fence and catch the downhill, and Poppy Trail, they sit in that wide area where Saddleback and everything is, and they're getting both directions right there.
Well, okay, so this report here, it's all by the same officer, all from the same location, all on the same day of the week. October 3rd,
October.
10th, 17th, 24th. It's like his weekly thing, which is fine. But I've asked this before, and I get different answers, but this is the supplemental report.
That is, the one with the green top is your supplemental traffic.
We don't regularly, if at all, see any other tickets that are in the city, so we have. you know,
Correct.
No, if so,
What I'm hearing here, there's, you know, other activity going on, and presumably they're writing tickets. I can't believe they would sit there for any period of time and not write a ticket, but we're not seeing it, is what I'm hearing.
right, you're not seeing it, those will typically end up being the patrol vehicles, and then that'll fall under, on page 1 of the staff report, what is called the regular traffic enforcement, because that's just part of their regular duties under the contract.
Right, but
That's this.
page 1, you're talking about page 17 of the agenda?
Page 17 in the
Okay, so
agenda.
down at the bottom, there is, I guess it's a summary, and it's the same, I presume these are the same numbers on the report that I just referred to. And-
Correct.
23 on the supplemental report, there's 23 violations, but I don't
But
see any-
that's the extra time that we pay for, you know,
Okay.
as a city. What we're not seeing is reports of other tickets that are written either, they could be, I don't know if these, the regular officers, the regular patrol officers are using radar when they're stopped.
You know, we've had this conversation, I think, both here and at the council level about deputies being trained in LiDAR radar and whether or not they're carrying it. So my guess is that if we're seeing under regular traffic enforcement that there are speeding sites, you know, and/or use of radar, LiDAR, that they, you know, that particular deputy is carrying it at that time.
But they said they were training more.
Yeah,
But I don't
they.
know whether we have them.
They said, and they reported out at the regional meeting, that yes, they were gonna have more of those available. As a matter of fact, I think, as I recall, in a traffic commission meeting, you had expressed some frustration with, you know, well, what are we doing and what is and then the next meeting, they came back and said, oh, well, now we have more people trained.
Went from 0
Yeah.
to 5, I think,
So,
in a matter of weeks.
So assuming that, you know, that what they had reported out to us is correct, then I would anticipate that their deputies are carrying, you know,
More of them
the
are now.
guns and are, you know, doing it when they are coming through
Radar
the city.
guns.
Yes, sorry, yes. Not their sidearm.
All the vehicles I see in the city now that are doing it, they're fully equipped with all the stuff hanging off the sides and all that, if that helps.
Well, I'm coming back to I wish we had more information as far as other moving violations that are written or hazardous sites. But stop signs too. I mean, you know, if we're specifically getting requests for stop sign violations, it doesn't show up here on this report that any tickets were written, but you wouldn't expect that at Crest Road and St. John's.
Yeah, and you know, to that point, Chair Wilson, if you want, you know, what I can start doing is I can start taking the regional contract law reports that Captain Guerrero gives us and just include them in your packet,
Yeah,
just
that
so
would
you
be
can
really
see that,
helpful.
because it's a quarterly report and it may just give you a little more breadth, you know, of
Yeah, because we've
information.
gone back and forth on this so many times over the years where we get a bunch of stop sign reports and people complain about that. Well, we want speeding, you know, and now we're getting all speed and there may be stop sign violations, especially in areas that, or specific areas where the residents live, you know, and they've made the request, but they wouldn't know from looking at this.
No.
And they, not today, of course, but they may be the ones that come to the meeting and say, hey, how come you don't do anything about this? We don't have anything to evidence that we did do so, or requested that we did something about it. Okay. Any other comments besides mine, mostly about the traffic report?
I thought maybe that was the sheriff's person, but it's not.
All right, seeing none, I guess that takes us to the end of the agenda. Is that right?
That is correct.
And I see that the next one is scheduled for January 23rd.
Correct.
Let's look at
Check
this.
my calendar.
23rd. It's on the
See you next year.
books.
A5.
It's on my calendar.
Very
already.
good.
4 times it's on my count, I don't understand that.
You know, I email you stuff typically to both emails, so, and sometimes,
For 2 of them.
sometimes you accept for
Where
two.
the other 2 come from? Okay, well, thank you all for your participation, and look forward to seeing you, if not before, next year.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You know,